Hey, what's going on, guys? My name's Griffin, and I'm a filmmaker based out of Orange County, California. And today we're going to be talking about the bright Tangerine Misfit Kick matte box. So about 2 weeks ago, I was on a commercial shoot and we were using some anamorphic lenses. And if you've ever shot with anamorphic lenses, you probably know that a lot of them don't have the closest focus distance. So in order to get the nice tight close-up shots that I was seeking to get, we had to use diopters. And so what you'll have to do is you'll have to slot a diopter into your matte box. And this particular matte box that we rented, it kept getting jammed. And so after that experience, I told myself that I was just gonna go out and buy a matte box instead of having to rely on rental houses to provide a matte box. So after deciding that I wanted to go out and get a matte box for myself, I figured out the criteria that I was gonna search for. There's really three things. Number one is I wanted the filter trays where you don't actually touch the glass on the filters. Number two, I wanted a matte box where you could quickly change the filter trays so you could go from using a diopter to no diopter really quickly. And the third thing was the price. So with that criteria in mind, I reached out to the guys from Bright Tangerine because I'm actually a huge fan of their products. Everything they make is super high quality. And I saw they had the new Misfit Kick matte box. And so I asked them if I could try it out. And so they agreed to send it out to me for a week so I could test it. And I gotta say, after using this matte box for a week, I really like it a lot. So jumping into the things that I really like about the matte box, first thing is they use Pro filter trays. So these filter trays are actually interchangeable with like the Airy LMB matte box ones. So that may or may not be important to you depending on what kind of sets you're on. But for me, being in like the Los Angeles area, the most common matte boxes that I find most rental houses have is the Airy LMB matte box. So what's kind of cool is you can literally take the Bright Tangerine filter trays and you can use them interchangeably with those Airy ones. So depending on what type of shoot you're on, maybe you're shooting with somebody else, maybe your B cam has an Airy matte box on it, you can just kind of swap those filter trays and not have to worry about it. So for me, that's definitely a nice bonus. I recognize that's not important for everybody, but depending on what kind of market you're in, that might be important for you. So I know some of the more popular matte boxes that have come to the market kind of on like the lower end of things, like the ones from Polar Pro, for example, they use proprietary filter trays, which basically means that you have to use their glass. And for me personally, there's certain filters that I like to always run in for the shoot. I also really like that when you slot the filter trays into the matte box, it's got like this really nice satisfying click. So right when you get the filter tray to the proper position right in the center, it just sort of like clicks in, and that way you know you don't push it too far. Because I've actually seen before like where a first AC has pushed the filter tray all the way through the matte box and it's fallen all the way through. So it's kind of nice to know like when you're slotting in, especially if you're in a hurry or something like that, when you slot these filter trays into the Bright Tangerine matte box, you're not gonna push it too far. Like you're gonna know right when you get it to the proper spot, and then you can just clamp it down. So the second thing I really like about the Bright Tangerine Misfit Kick matte box is the fact that you can do really fast filter changes. So right when I got the matte box, I just kind of timed myself to see how long it would take to go from 2 stages to 3 stages. And I was actually able to do it in right around 20 seconds, which is like incredibly fast. So for me personally, I always find myself in these situations where I'm on a shoot and it's kind of like coming down. We only have like 1 hour left in the location. You've got your producer or your first AD there, and they're trying to do their job. They're trying to get you to wrap the shoot on time. And you're like, oh, I just want to get like one more shot where we get that close up, and oh, we need to use the diopter. So cut. Focus. Let's swap it to a 0.5 diopter. Copy that. Thanks. And the question always comes up is, how long is that going to take? You know, and for me, it's usually a couple minutes. And a lot of times that just means you won't be able to get the shot. Whereas with the Bright Tangerine Misfit Kick matte box, I know that I could just say to my producer now, it's gonna take me 20 seconds. And like no one's gonna stop you, be like, okay, 20 seconds, okay, whatever. Like there's usually not times between takes where you're gonna go literally right into the next one in less than 20 seconds. So the fact that I know I have the confidence that I could go from a diopter to no diopter and then back again in 20 seconds is really cool. This is actually one of the biggest differences from the Airy LMB matte boxes that I noticed. I went up to Evidence Cameras, and I went up there to visit my buddy Joel, and I was just kind of hanging out with him, and I asked him to pull out his Airy matte box. And we were both pretty impressed because when the Bright Tangerine matte box, when you go from 2 stages to 3 stages, all you do is you use this little, they call it a reveal stage. You push these little levers, boom, slides open. You could slot the 3rd stage in there. And with the Airy matte box, what you have to do is you have to unclamp it from your lens, unscrew your back clamp, screw on this 3rd stage, screw on this other lens clamp, and it's just more of a time-consuming process. And another thing too, if you had to do this yourself, like I could literally do this on an easy rig with the Bright Tangerine matte box. Like it's super easy. You could literally just go boom, pull it out, pull the reveal stage in, and then you're good to go. With the Airy, like you'll have to like bring it over to your cart and like disassemble it and reassemble it. And like the whole thing's gonna probably take you a couple minutes. So just knowing that it's a huge time saver on set, it's a pretty big deal for me. So the third thing I like about the Bright Tangerine matte box is the price. And don't get me wrong, it is definitely not a cheap matte box, but my philosophy when it comes to buying gear is just buy it once and be done with it. I always want to buy gear that I know will last me my whole career. I don't want to have to go buy something again in like one more year. So like I was actually looking at some of the lower end matte boxes where they're like maybe in the $500 price range. And the biggest thing I found that differentiates those lower end matte boxes to these higher end ones is the fact that they don't use the slot end filter trays, or they don't have 3 stages. And so like you're always kind of having this trade-off of like having to give up features that will actually be really important for you in your career. And like I know if I buy one of those matte boxes, I'll end up going and buying another one again in a year. So the 2 matte boxes I was mostly looking at were this one from Bright Tangerine, and then I was also looking at the Airy, just because I knew that's like what most rental houses have, and I figured if they have it, it's got to be good and durable and it's going to last you. If you compare the 2 kits to the side by side, you'll see that like they're almost the same matte box, and if anything, I'd probably give the nod in design to the Bright Tangerine matte box, just because it's got that reveal stage. And then on top of that, it comes in about $500 cheaper. So, you know, hey, that's a pretty big price savings. And just the fact that I know it's going to last me my whole career, buying it once is going to be a little better. A couple of nice bonuses that I found with this matte box were they have a really nice upgrade path where you can add on the 15mm attachment, and theirs is really cool. It was a little pricey for me up front, so I'm not going with it right now, but knowing that I can add that on later in the future, that's pretty cool. And then also another thing that I thought was really cool was you can take the Bright Tangerine 1 tray and you can slot in a 138mm polarizer and a 4x5 polarizer, and you can actually have a built-in variable ND. And then that still leaves you a 3rd stage to put in something like a Pro Mist filter. So that's pretty cool. You know, for me, I shoot on Canon cameras or Arri cameras usually, and so most of the time they have NDs built in, so that's not really something I have to worry about. But if you are shooting on a Red, for example, like I shot on the Komodo earlier, this would have been a really nice feature to have for sure. Another thing I really like is they were kind of forward thinking in making it compatible for full frame cameras. So my main camera is the C500 Mark II. I did experience a little bit of vignetting before when I was using a different matte box. You could just see it on the very edge of the frames. And they made these things called the frame safe adapters, where it'll allow for a wider field of view on full frame cameras. So if you're shooting on like an Alexa Mini LF or something like that, or a C500, this could be a good feature for you. And what's cool is you can also use this, the clamp-on adapter on the Arri matte boxes as well. So it's nice that it's cross-compatible like that. Last thing I would say is I really liked the top flag. You could reposition it with one hand and it's just gonna stay there. So this is nice if like you're solo shooting and you just wanna quickly make an adjustment on the fly. You don't have to go and like stop, set your camera down, unscrew 2 things, reposition it, hold it, clamp it. It's like, it's not this whole song and dance. It's just really quick and easy. You just grab it with one hand, boom, reposition it. And that's not like that on all the matte boxes that I've used. Probably the one and only thing that I could think to improve on this matte box would be when you're traveling and you have your top flag folded down like this. I think it'd be cool if they could add some like little, will that focus? Yeah. So I think it'd be cool if they could add some little magnets so this doesn't rattle at all when you're traveling. Just some little small magnets to clamp on like right here and on the opposite side. But I could see they probably did that to save weight because it actually is a pretty light matte box. So all in all, to conclude, I would say this is a really great matte box, and you know, for the price, I think you're really getting something that's high quality. So, you know, everybody has different plans and different reasons for buying what they buy. For me, I like to buy things once and just be done with it, even if that means paying a little bit more upfront, you know, instead of just going the budget route. So, you know, all in all, I'm pretty happy with this matte box, and I'm definitely going to be keeping this and adding it to my kit. So anyways, guys, hope you liked this video and hope you got something out of it. If you like this kind of video, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.